Hey, I'm Amber, and you're watching Detroit 360. Come and be social in the city with me. I know you guys are used to us being out on the town, but today we're at my place because I'm having some friends over. It's the new year, which means there are new opportunities to do more and be more. My girlfriends are coming over and we're doing some goal planning, and we're gonna give you some behind the scenes to how we get things done. But while I prepare for them, watch this next clip.
Shh, Mom's out at Aunt's birthday party. So I decided I'd come in the kitchen, of course, and I'd make another great recipe, veggie burgers. But I'm Jay Lauren, and I'm a 12-year-old who loves to cook healthy food, and I decided I'd share it with you. So let's get on into the video. So if you're on a vegetarian or vegan diet, beans are a great way to get your protein, and this veggie burger is made out of beans. Don't forget, I'll leave all of the ingredients in the recipe and all the measurements down in the description box below. Now for this, you're gonna need some corn, rice, breadcrumbs, black beans or red kidney beans, some seasonings, and a squirt of ketchup. Now let's start. Now we're just gonna add in our beans, rice, corn, breadcrumbs, ketchup. So now we're just gonna season it up. This is just a steakhouse seasoning. Add a little bit of that and a little bit of pink Himalayan sea salt. All right, now let's blend it up. Now in the middle, blending it. We're just gonna kind of mix it all together to get stuff that hasn't been blending. All right. Now when you have a nice thick, like creamy consistency and pretty much everything's all blended up, it's ready. So this is kind of what your consistency should be like. You want a little bit of like whole beans and whole corn, but for the main part, everything should be all blended up. This would be a good time to preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Now to make the patties, I'm just gonna wet my hands really fast. And now we're gonna get to it. So I'm just gonna take about a spoonful, a nice spoonful and a half probably. And we're just gonna kind of roll it out and make it into a patty shape. I'm gonna make it about this size, about the palm of my hand. All right. Now here are our final patties, and we're just gonna put them in the oven for about 15 minutes, and halfway through we're gonna flip them. Okay, we're back and the patties are ready. They look really good. Now, you want them to be really crispy on the outside and a little bit like squishier on the inside, or less firm. And you can kind of feel that when you touch the patty. And now we're gonna make a sauce to go along with it. Now for our sauce, you're gonna just need some relish, sweet relish, ketchup and mustard, and some vegan mayo. Now this is just mayo. This is the best vegan mayo I've found so far. And you're just gonna take a little bit of that in there. All right. Now we're just gonna mix together our sauce. And that's what your sauce should look like. It's really nice, like that kind of cream color. Now we're gonna put the burger together, and I have some onion, tomato, lettuce, and the sauce. So I'm just gonna take a patty, go for this one, and I'm gonna put on the tomato, some lettuce shreds, a little bit of onion. Here, I'll put the sauce on this side. Okay, that looks really good. And in half. Yeah, doesn't this look so good? Now, I hope that I helped your family eat a little bit healthier. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And
Ooh, I'm telling on you.
not again. Bye, guys.
I'm here with my friends Lauren and Jamie, and we get together all the time to talk about our goals, but there's something refreshing about setting goals at the top of the year. So I put together these 2019 goal planning sheets so we can be a bit strategic with setting our intentions for the year. So before we get into that, I kind of just want to talk about 2018. I know we all did a lot, but like, what was your biggest accomplishment last year?
My biggest accomplishment was throwing my first party with no partners, just by myself, and I was extremely scared. And 1,000 people came.
Yeah.
Didn't think that would happen, but it did, and it helped start a career for myself. So I do events pretty much full time.
It was successful.
Mention low name, bring the whole city out.
Whole city.
What about you, Jamie?
Well, this year I started my fragrance company called One Fragrance Co. And so with that, it's gender neutral, and as many people may or may not know, I kind of kept it, to myself. But I stopped working in March, and so it was a really big deal for me to be able to do it on my own. And it's all just funded through me. So the capital that I had and saved, and really worked hard for it. So I'm really proud of it.
Oh, that's so. I love the fragrance too. Tell us a little bit about like what made you want to put
do
in
it.
fragrance.
So the idea of it is to be gender neutral. It kind of just started as me wanting to wear John's cologne, and I was like, my first impression, because scent can be your first impression.
Right.
So with
Like,
that.
like a man.
Yeah, I was like, oh, they're gonna think I smell like a boy, or whatever. But with that, I just said, okay, no, like I should be able to wear what makes me feel good, and so that's kind of the motto or like vision that I'm pushing with my brand. So
I love that, and it makes me feel good when I wear it.
Sounds great.
So for 2019, like what is the biggest thing that you're looking forward to?
I'm just ready to expand. I'm ready to further my network on a more national level. I did the whole local thing. I have the local connections. I feel like that's in the bag. Like that's
Okay,
ready.
it's all conquered. Period.
Now it's time to just broaden my horizon. So I'm ready for new connections.
yes, I'm gonna say the same thing a little bit, pretty much. Just basically, I want to travel with my brand, get exposure to different states, cities. Especially, I want to go like New York, Chicago, some of the bigger cities. Just get some different people trying different things. And my birthday's coming up, so I'll be 25 next year. So I'm looking forward to that. So.
Quarter century.
Yes.
You haven't told us any of
Yeah. So for 2018, I think the biggest thing that I did was like launching myself as a beauty influencer, and in that space, like launching my first lip collection. Just coming out the gate swinging, like here's 3 colors, you can buy them. I'm wearing one now.
They're cute.
And that was like a really big deal for me because at the beginning of the year, I said I wanted to do more brand partnerships. So for that to come into fruition so quickly, like it came together so fast. But for 2019, I'm just looking to grow my personal brand even more. And then we'll see what that looks like throughout the year.
It'll be lit.
Yes, it's lit always. But when I set my goals, like I have all these tools that I use to make sure that I achieve them. My planner is the holy grail for me. Like I map everything out. It has the budget, space, like am I drinking enough water? Like really detailed into what I do.
I
So
need
like
that.
it's a purpose planner. It's a purpose planner.
I need that.
So like what are tools that you all use to make sure your goals are achieved?
Every day I map out my to-do list and I create an agenda just to keep myself on track with everything that I do so that I don't fall behind. Not having a full-time job and not having, I guess, kind of a boss or someone on you saying, did you do this, did you do that? It makes it 10 times harder to get the job done.
Yeah.
So as
All
long
that
as,
freedom.
man. So as long as I have my to-do list set in place, I'm attacking the things that I need to attack to get the job done.
You getting it done.
Getting things done, yes.
On the same kind of page, I do journaling, so not as much as a planner, not strategic, but what's the
Kind of
word
more
I'm looking for?
free-flowing.
Yeah.
So it just helps me get out of the headspace, get it down on paper, and I'm able to like look back, reflect, and see like, okay, that was a good idea, or maybe I should ditch that one, or just like, how am I evolving, what needs to be done, and just keep it going. So.
I think like all of these tools together could be so powerful if you're like mapping everything out specifically and then each day looking at what you need to do, but then reflecting on what you've done. Like that's the power pack right there. That's how you get your goals done. But with that, like let's look at these worksheets and map out our desires and our intentions for the year. I'm so excited for us. Woo, woo.
Hey, Kendra.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, how are you today?
Pretty good. How about you?
Good. Can I help you with that?
Thank you so much.
Hey, I'll grab it for you.
Thank you. Come on in. Ah, here's my receipt.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to get another job to afford all these groceries.
I can see why. Hey, you know you can reuse these, correct? And some stores will give you a credit towards your grocery bill if you bring your own bags.
Really?
And once you're done reusing the bags, you can recycle them. Recycling also saves resources and money by cutting down on landfill costs, which we all pay for on our property tax bill. You can put a recycling bin next to your trash and recycle all sorts of things, like cereal boxes, plastic containers, cans, and paper as well.
Want some water?
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, another idea, instead of letting the water run until it gets cool, fill up a water bottle or a pitcher and put it in the refrigerator, and you'll save money on your water bill, which you can put towards your groceries as well.
Yes. What else?
You can save even more money on water by taking shorter showers. and turning the water off when you brush your teeth. Save money on your electric bill by turning lights off when you leave the room. And when you're not using them, unplug anything that uses power, even when it's off, like your phone charger or your computer. Unplugging those devices from standby power can also save you up to $100 per year.
Woo! More money for those groceries.
High five. Save water, save energy, save money.
I am Richard Grundy. I am Detroit. My first and main job out of college for a corporation was working for AT&T Yellow Pages. So I was selling advertising. It was a good experience, but it was very challenging coming into the workforce in that time when there was a recession. I would say from that experience, I probably had a little bit of a scar, but I never felt comfortable not having a technical skill that I could take anywhere with me and create my own income or create my own path. I decided to take all of my savings, my 401k, and move to New York to join a 3-month coding boot camp. It was probably the hardest academic experience I've ever had in my life. And that's when I found the thing that I actually like to do, which is introduce people to technology. And I always kind of thought in the back of my mind after I finished that program, like, people in Detroit, you have to be so resourceful and they're so creative that if more of us knew about all of these tools that were available on the internet and this way of creating through like the agile methodology, through the lean up startup model, through these different ways, the sky will be the limit. Programs like Journey are so important to the community because our community members need to be exposed to the different opportunities that they can create for themselves. So we would teach them how to build websites, how to generate income for themselves after they leave our program, the complete software development process. So not just how to build websites, but how to communicate with clients, how to find clients. And there's no one better to solve these problems than the people from our community. Knowing that my students have the ability to get the confidence to create after they leave our program is what motivates me.
There's nothing worse than wasting time. Well, maybe waiting in lines. But now I can pay my water bill from my phone, tablet, or laptop. All it takes is a quick click and bam, I can check, manage, and pay my water bill from anywhere. That means more time with the family at Rouge Park, more time for myself on the Riverwalk, or just at home on Outer Drive. I can pay my water bill anywhere. It's that easy. So skip the line and pay your bill online. Visit www.detroitmi.gov/paymywaterbill to register today.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tara Defoe, and you're watching On the Floor. Today we will meet a man who made some bad decisions as a teenager, and the result of his decisions was 10 years behind bars. Now, that same man has turned his life around and become a valued community leader in Detroit. We're talking about Minister Troy Muhammad, a Christian minister who went to prison and came out as a community leader through the Nation of Islam. Minister Troy, describe the chain of events that landed you in the Department of Corrections.
Young man growing up on the west side of Detroit during the 80s, which was a pretty wild time for young people in the city of Detroit. You know, a lot of YBI, Young Boys Incorporated, different organizations were around. But I was raised by my grandparents, so I kind of avoided a lot of that stuff. But I wanted to take my girl to the prom. I wanted to get a limousine, and they weren't having that part. So I went to a cousin of mine who was hustling, and I asked him for some money to get a limousine. He said, I ain't giving you no money, you can make some money. And he gave me a bag of white stuff. I'd never seen it before. I didn't know what to do with it. I went to the guy down the street, Fred, I got this bag. What can I do with it? By 11 o'clock that night, Fred was knocking on my window at my grandparents' house, and he said, give me a few of these. And I gave him the rocks, and he brought money back. And it was just that easy to make money, and I got involved in that. prior to that, I had been shot 9 times between the ages of 15 and 17. You know, so I started carrying a gun. And eventually in that lifestyle with those types of people, I ended up pulling a gun and shooting somebody, you know. So I was sent to prison at 17 years old for assault with intent to commit murder. I was given a sentence of 25 to 50 years.
I know it's difficult, but take us back to the moments when you were incarcerated, the daily activities.
I mean, it wasn't like the movies, you know. So you go in, and I was sent to a place called Michigan Reformatory, which it had young men from the ages of 16 to 22, but everybody in there had over 20 years to do. So they called it gladiator school. You know what I mean? Just a lot of young men with nothing to lose. So I get my GED, which I didn't have. I didn't finish my high school. I got in college immediately. I got an associate's degree in business, all while in prison. It was keeping me busy. You know, for those first few years, you try to fulfill the things that you didn't fulfill while you were free and able to fulfill them. But it was a tough experience.
So now you're being released. What was that experience? Were there any emotions?
I mean, I don't think it was any emotions involved at that time, because while I was there, both of my parents passed away. You know what I mean? So it was bittersweet in that aspect. And I'd been away. At that point, I got a time reduction because I had 25 to 50. But like I said, when I got in there, I started doing the right thing, you know, and sometimes it's too late to do the right thing. But fortunately for me, you know, I got a second chance. I joined the Nation of Islam while in prison, and that teaching made me kind of straighten my life out and try to do the right thing. So when I went back to court for a resentencing, the judge looked at my record and said, "You're the perfect example of reform. And if I could give you less than the minimum, I would." But she ended up giving me the minimum, and I ended up serving 10 years.
So you went in as a teenager, and now you're coming out as an adult. What changed? Did anything change?
Yeah, I felt like the last OG getting out, you know? I mean, it was different in that aspect, but not really, you know, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. You know, it was a friend of mine who, the day before I left, I went over to his house to visit him, and he was laying on the couch eating some chips or something like that. And when I came back 13 years later, he was still on the couch at his mama's house, you know, eating chips. It was like horrible, you know, when I saw how much he had been frozen in time. So, you know, times changed a bit, but it wasn't that much of a change.
As the leader of Mosque Number One, which is located here in Detroit, what is the vision for the organization and its surrounding communities?
Well, I mean, now, or it's always been the vision to serve the community, to help serve the community. We've been located on Wyoming and Detroit for over 30 years, and we've been blessed recently to get a new mosque, which we're sitting in today, and it's a lot larger. But the vision for this building for the community is to serve as a service center to help everybody in the surrounding community. We have a facility large enough now where different groups can come in and even share what they have. You know, we want it to be a service center. We want to be able to give out food. We want to be able to help our young people and do all that we can to affect the Detroit community in a positive way.
What are some of the misunderstandings that communities have about the Muslim faith?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of that comes from a lack of study, a lack of trying to understand. The Holy Quran, which is the book that we study from, talks about Moses, Abraham, Jesus, you know. In fact, in the Holy Quran, Jesus is raised as the Messiah. So oftentimes when people condemn the Holy Quran or condemn the Muslim faith, they're condemning their own faith, because the Muslim faith raises Jesus as well as his mother, you know, as great representatives of God. I think that, you know, a Muslim and a Christian, if you look at the definitions of the word, they mean the same thing. As a Christian is one who follows Jesus, and a Muslim means one who submits to God. You know, and sometimes we affiliate those who do wrong in the name of religion with the religion. But that would be like saying because the Ku Klux Klan called themselves the Christian Knights that they're actually Christian. You know, that would be an unfair assessment. So I think that, you know, the best thing that we can do is sit down, talk to one another and discuss and see that all the principles of the religions, even if it's Catholicism, Jehovah's Witness, Christianity, Islam, you know, the principles are the same. And if the people of God can unite on the principles, I think we'll all be more successful against Satan.
So for those who are listening to your message as you speak across, not only in Detroit, but across the country, what is it that you want them to take back?
Well, I mean, we can't make anybody change. Change has to come from the person. The individual has to decide to change. So the only thing that I want the ability to do is offer people good information that they can use to apply to self and to change self. You know, I was blessed to get information from Minister Farrakhan, and it was my decision to apply it to myself. So when I go across the country, I meet people who may see me on Facebook or see me on a video or something like that, and they're inspired by the transformation, you know. We just did an event in the city of Detroit, and I talked about how in 1995, when the Million Man March took place, I was in a prison cell. But today, I was hosting it, you know, the anniversary of it. So it just talks about, you know, I think the ability to fall down and get back up. And I think a lot of human beings have fallen down and they don't understand that they can get back up. And I want that to be my main message. If I can do it, you can do it. She can do it, he can do it, you know?
What would you say to your younger self?
Nothing. Because you couldn't be who you are without the mistakes that you made, the failures, the ups, the downs. That's what develops us into the people that we are. So I would say nothing. I would love to watch it and observe it, but you know, you can't be who you are without what you've gone through. So no changes would be made and no instruction would be given. I would just be happy to view it and then be able to view where I'm at right now.
If you like this episode and want to see more, follow us at City of Detroit. Check out more stories from the neighborhoods at Stories from DET and tap into featured events in the city on Instagram and YouTube at Burst Detroit. I'm big on visualizing. Seeing images that affirm my goals are so powerful. It's important to map them out, but you also have to set the intention. We're putting together our 2019 vision boards because we're going to seal the deal on all the things that we said we want to accomplish. I encourage you all to do this at home too. While we finish this up, I'm going to make sure to catch up with you guys next time. Thank you for watching Detroit 360, your guide to all things Detroit.